The Grand Chamber floated in space above Centauri Prime, a massive station built by ancient hands. Inside, hundreds of alien species sat in curved rows that reached toward a domed ceiling made of transparent metal. Stars shone through it like distant memories. Ambassador Hana stood at the center platform, her hands clasped behind her back. She wore the simple blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Beside her stood Captain Jiho, his military medals catching the light, and Dr. Minho, who carried a data tablet close to his chest. The chamber was silent. Too silent. Hana had been to many council sessions before, and they were usually filled with the noise of 1,000 conversations in 1,000 languages. Today, everyone watched the three humans with cold eyes. Speaker Veln rose from the highest seat. He was insectoid, with 6 legs and a body covered in black shell. His voice came through translation devices that everyone wore. Humanity stands accused of unauthorized expansion. You have violated the Territorial Preservation Act of the 447th cycle. You have built colonies in 3-star systems without council permission. How do you answer? Hana stepped forward. With respect, Speaker, we were never informed that those systems were restricted. Our survey teams found no claims, no markers, no prior settlements. We followed all protocols we were taught when we joined the council 50 years ago. High Magistrate Krill, an ancient reptilian being whose scales had turned gray with age, made a sound like grinding rocks. Ignorance is not innocence, human. The Territorial Preservation Act has existed for 12,000 years. All systems within the defined borders require council approval for settlement. Defined borders that were never shown to us, Captain Jiho said, his voice calm but firm. The chamber erupted. Aliens shouted in languages the translators struggled to process. Speaker Veln struck a gong that rang through the station. Order! The human will not interrupt this council. Hana touched Jiho's arm gently. He stepped back, jaw tight. She faced the council again. We request clarification of these borders. We request the documents that define restricted territories. We will comply with all legitimate regulations. Comply? Magistrate Krill leaned forward, his old eyes narrow. You will do more than comply. You will abandon your illegal colonies. You will pay reparations to the council treasury. You will submit your expansion plans to council review for the next 500 years. You will accept council observers on all your worlds. Dr. Minho looked up from his tablet, eyes wide. Hana felt her stomach drop. This was not a fair judgment. This was subjugation. That would cripple our civilization, she said carefully. We have families on those colonies, millions of people who have built homes, farms, schools. We have mining operations that feed our economy. We have research stations. You are asking us to destroy 50 years of work. We are asking you to obey the law, Speaker Veln said. The council has been generous to humanity. We shared our star charts. We gave you fusion technology. We taught you how to build faster-than-light drives. And this is how you repay us? By stealing territory? Hana felt anger rise in her chest, but she pushed it down. Stay calm. Stay diplomatic. We have paid for every technology transfer. We have traded valuable resources. We have contributed our own discoveries to the council database. We have been good members of this community. A community you joined as children, another voice said. It came from a floating sphere of pure energy, a being called a luminar. You are the youngest species here by 10,000 years. You must learn patience. You must learn your place. Your place. The words hung in the air like poison. Captain Jiho spoke again, and this time Hana did not stop him. What is our place exactly? To follow rules we are not shown? To abandon our people when you command it? To beg for permission to grow? To understand that order must be maintained, Magistrate Krill said. The Council has kept peace in this galaxy for longer than your species has existed. We know what happens when young races expand too quickly. They cause wars. They disrupt trade. They threaten stability. Dr. Minho whispered to Hana, "I need access to the archives. Something is wrong here. This does not follow any legal precedent I have studied." Hana nodded slightly. She faced the Council again. "We request time to consult with our government. This is a matter that will affect billions of human lives. We need to bring this before Earth's leadership." The Council members looked at each other. Finally, Speaker Velen said, "You have 24 hours. Return here with your answer. You will accept our terms, or you will face the consequences." "What consequences?" Jiho asked. "Economic blockade, denial of Council technology, sanctions against your trade routes, and if you resist, military action to enforce Council law." The words were spoken so casually, as if threatening war was a normal part of business. Hana bowed slightly, a gesture of respect she did not feel. "We will return in 24 hours. The three humans left the chamber. As they walked through the corridors of the station toward their ship, Dr. Minho spoke urgently. "I need to access the unrestricted archives before we leave. I have clearance as a Council academic. Something about this feels rehearsed, like they planned this confrontation." "Do it," Hana said. "Find out what they are not telling us." Captain Jiho looked back at the chamber doors. "We are walking into a trap. I can feel it." Hana did not disagree. In 50 years of Council membership, humanity had never been treated as equals. They had been tolerated, managed, controlled. And now, when humans had finally begun to thrive, the Council was pulling them back down. Dr. Minho split off toward the archives while Hana and Jiho continued to their ship. Once inside, Jiho sealed the door and turned to her. "What are you thinking?" "I am thinking," Hana said quietly, "that we may have made a terrible mistake joining this Council. And I am thinking that we may need to make a choice no human has made before." Outside the viewport, the stars waited, silent and patient, while three humans stood at the edge of a decision that would change the galaxy forever. Dr. Minho walked through the archive halls alone. The walls were lined with data crystals that glowed soft blue, each one containing millions of records. The archive keeper, a small gray alien with 4 arms, had checked his credentials and given him access without question. Council academics could browse unrestricted materials freely. That was one of the few real benefits of membership. He sat at a viewing station and began to search. At first, he looked for legal precedents, cases where other species had been accused of territorial violations. He found 300 cases spanning 8,000 years. In every single one, the accused species had submitted to Council authority. There were no trials, no appeals, just submission. Then he noticed something strange. There were gaps in the timeline, periods where certain species appeared in records, then suddenly vanished. 12 species, to be exact. He entered the name of the first one into the search function. The Kelhari, a species that had joined the Council 6,000 years ago and disappeared from all records 300 years later. The file was marked Restricted Access, Historical Archive. But Minho's academic clearance let him open it anyway. What he read made his blood run cold. Young analyst Yuna was waiting for him when he returned to the human quarters on the station. She had been monitoring Council communications, a task she performed every day. "Dr. Minho, we have intercepted encrypted transmissions between Council military commands. They are moving ships." "Where?" Minho asked, already knowing the answer. "Toward human space. 3 battle fleets. They are positioning themselves near our colonies." Minho sat down heavily. "It is worse than we thought. Much worse." He activated a secure screen and showed her what he had found. The Council has done this 12 times before. 12 species, all like us. Young, innovative, growing quickly. Yuna read through the files, her face going pale. They were all destroyed. Some enslaved, some just erased completely. This one, the Kelhari, they had developed their own faster-than-light technology, different from the Council's method. They were accused of stealing Council secrets. They refused to hand over their research. 6 months later, their home world was bombed until nothing lived. And here, Minho pointed to another file. The Dravik. They established independent trade with non-Council species. They were charged with economic violations. They tried to negotiate. The Council blockaded their worlds until they starved. The survivors became labor-class workers on Council mining stations. This is genocide, Yuna whispered. They destroy any species that might challenge them. Not destroy, Minho corrected. Control. They destroy the ones who resist. The ones who submit become permanent servants. Either way, the Council maintains absolute power. Yuna pulled up another screen. We need to contact Captain Jinwoo. His recon ship is in the outer systems. It took 30 minutes to establish a secure connection. Captain Jinwoo's face appeared and he looked worried. I was about to call you. We have been tracking Council military movements. They have positioned attack fleets around all 3 of our contested colonies, and there are more ships moving toward Earth itself. How many? Minho asked. At least 300 warships that we can detect. There may be more in stealth approach. Yuna leaned forward. The ultimatum was theater. They plan to attack no matter what we say. That is my assessment, Jinwoo agreed. The positioning is too deliberate. They are preparing for a siege. Minho sent the historical files to Jinwoo's ship. You need to see this. The Council has done this before. We are not the first. We are just the latest. They watched Jinwoo read through the documents. His expression hardened. Then we are out of time. I am sending this to Earth immediately. Our leaders need to know what they are facing. Already done, Minho said. I transmitted everything to Earth as soon as I left the archives. They should have it by now. Back on Earth in the Planetary Defense Headquarters, screens showed the approaching danger. Admiral Taman stood before a wall of tactical displays. Around him, military leaders and government officials argued about the best course of action. We should negotiate, one official said. We can give up the colonies, save our people. And then what? Another replied. They will just demand more, and more, until we have nothing left. Admiral Taman raised his hand for silence. The decision is not ours to make alone. Ambassador Hana has authorization to speak for Earth, but we can prepare for what may come. He turned to his staff officers. Activate all defense fleets. Recall every ship. I want our entire Navy ready within 12 hours. That will be noticed, someone pointed out. Good, Taman said. Let them notice. Let them know we are not afraid. On the Council station, Ambassador Hana received the encrypted transmission from Earth. She read it 3 times, making sure she understood every word. Then she looked at Captain Jiho, who sat across from her in their small diplomatic quarters. Earth's government has made their decision, she said quietly. And we do not submit. We do not give up our colonies. We do not accept Council authority over our future. Jiho nodded slowly. Then we are choosing war. We are choosing freedom, Hana corrected. The Council is already choosing war. We just refuse to be victims. Dr. Minho and Yuna entered the room. Minho carried a data chip. I have more evidence. Enough to destroy the Council's credibility in front of the entire galaxy, if we can broadcast it. Journalist Sora is ready, Yuna added. She has connections to independent news networks that reach hundreds of species. If we give her the signal, she can broadcast our statement to every inhabited world in the galaxy. Hana stood and walked to the viewport. Outside, the Council station glittered with lights. Thousands of beings living and working, most of them believing the council was just and fair, most of them not knowing the truth. "We have 24 hours, she said. "We will use them. Minho, give everything you found to Sora. Yuna, coordinate with Jinwoo. I want exact positions of every council military asset. Jiho, contact Admiral Taman. Make sure our people are ready." "Ready for what?" Jiho asked, though he already knew. "Ready to stand alone," Hana said. 50 years ago, we joined the galactic community hoping for friendship and cooperation. We got neither. Tomorrow, we will show them what humanity really is. Not a species that begs for acceptance, a species that takes its own path. The next 20 hours passed in a blur of preparation. Messages flew between the station and Earth. Files were encrypted, copied, distributed. Journalist Sora prepared her broadcast equipment. Captain Jinwoo's ship slipped closer to Council military positions, gathering intelligence. Admiral Taman moved the Earth Defense Fleet into formation, and Ambassador Hana prepared her speech, the words that would change everything. When the 24 hours expired, she was ready. They all were. Humanity had made its choice, and there was no going back. The council chamber filled again, exactly 24 hours after the first session. This time, the atmosphere was different, confident. The council members talked among themselves, already certain of the outcome. Humanity would submit. They always did. Every species submitted in the end. Ambassador Hana walked to the center platform with Captain Jiho and Dr. Minho. Her steps were steady. Her face was calm. She carried a small data tablet, nothing more. Speaker Velm did not wait for formalities. "Humanity, you have had your time to consult. What is your answer? Do you accept the council's terms?" Hana looked around the chamber slowly, meeting the eyes of as many beings as she could. Then she placed her tablet on the platform and spoke clearly. "Before I answer, I would like to present evidence to this council." "There is no need for evidence," Magistrate Krill said. "We require only your compliance." "Nevertheless," Hana continued, "I believe the council should hear what we have discovered." She activated the tablet. Images appeared on the chamber's main display screens. "These are records from your own archives, unrestricted files available to any council academic. Dr. Minho retrieved them legally." The images showed star charts, timelines, species profiles. The Kelhari, the Dravik, the Sorthin, the Vane. 12 species in total, all of them young, all of them innovative, all of them accused of violations similar to ours. Mutterings spread through the chamber. Some council members looked uncomfortable. Others looked angry. "And all of them," Hana continued, her voice growing stronger, "were either destroyed or enslaved when they refused to submit to council authority. The Kelhari developed new technology, so you bombed their world. The Dravik tried independent trade, so you starved them. The pattern is clear. The council does not tolerate competition. You do not tolerate independence." "This is outrageous," Speaker Velm struck his gong. "You dare to accuse this council of—" "I accuse this council of being exactly what it is," Hana said, her voice cutting through his protests. "An empire dressed in the language of cooperation. A dictatorship that calls itself a democracy. You do not share power. You hoard it. You do not encourage growth. You crush it." The chamber exploded with noise. Hundreds of aliens shouting, some in anger, some in shock. Through it all, Hana stood silent, waiting. Magistrate Krill's voice boomed over the chaos. "Enough! Human, you forget yourself, Dite. You forget that you are standing before powers that ruled galaxies when your ancestors were living in caves. We have maintained order for 12,000 years. "Stagnant order," Captain Jiho said. "I have reviewed your technological development. In 12,000 years, you have made almost no advancement. You have the same ships, the same weapons, the same systems. You do not innovate. You do not progress. You just control." "We maintain stability," another council member shouted. "You maintain your own power," Dr. Minho replied. "You keep other species dependent on your technology so they can never threaten you. That is not stability. That is tyranny." Speaker Veln rose to his full height, his shell gleaming. "You have made your position clear, humanity, and now we will make ours clear. You are hereby expelled from the Galactic Council. Your trade agreements are void, your access to Council space is revoked, and your illegal colonies will be seized by force." Hana smiled. It was not a happy smile. "You misunderstand, Speaker. We are not waiting to be expelled." She touched her tablet, and her words echoed through translation devices across the galaxy. Journalist Sora was broadcasting everything, just as planned. "As of this moment, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council. We reject your authority. We reject your laws that you apply selectively to maintain power. We reject your economic system designed to keep young species weak. We reject everything you represent." The chamber fell silent. In 12,000 years, no species had ever voluntarily left the Council. "We are recalling all our diplomats," Captain Jiho said. "We are closing all Council embassies on human worlds. We are severing all trade agreements that bind us to your economy. We are taking our technology and our resources," Dr. Minho added, "and we are building our own future." Magistrate Krill laughed, a sound like stones breaking. "Foolish children. You think you can stand alone? We will blockade your worlds. We will destroy your colonies. We will crush you as we have crushed others." A new image appeared on the screens. Admiral Taman's face, broadcasting from Earth. "This is Admiral Taman of the Earth Defense Fleet. I am authorized to inform the Council that humanity is prepared to defend itself. Our entire navy is mobilized. Our colonies are fortified. Our people are ready." The screen shifted to show space around Earth. Ships, hundreds of ships. Some were the older models humanity had built with Council technology, but others were new designs, built in secret, using human engineering principles. Speaker Veln stared at the display. "You have been building a military fleet. This is a violation of Council regulations." "Regulations we no longer recognize," Hana said. "We have been preparing for this day since we first realized the Council's true nature. We learned from the species you destroyed. We will not make their mistakes." Admiral Taman's voice continued. "The Council should know that we do not seek war. We only seek freedom. But if you attack us, we will defend ourselves with everything we have." Journalist Sora's broadcast reached across the galaxy. On 1,000 worlds, beings watched as humanity defied the Council. The news spread through markets, homes, schools. Some species cheered, some feared. All were shocked. Back in the chamber, Ambassador Hana picked up her tablet. "We came to this council 50 years ago as hopeful explorers, seeking friends among the stars. We leave as a free people who understand that true partnership cannot be built on submission. If any species wishes to trade with us as equals, we welcome it. If any species wishes to build genuine cooperation based on mutual respect, we are ready." She turned toward the exit. Captain Jiho and Dr. Minho followed her. "If you leave this chamber," Speaker Veln called after them, "you are declaring war on the entire council." Hana stopped at the door. She looked back one last time. "No, Speaker. You declared war when you decided to crush us rather than accept us. We are simply refusing to be victims. There is a difference." The three humans walked out. The massive doors closed behind them with a sound like thunder. In the chamber, the council members sat in stunned silence. Then, chaos erupted. Some demanded immediate military action. Others urged caution. A few, very quietly, wondered if the humans might be right. On their ship, Hana, Jiho, and Minho strapped in for departure. The station's traffic control refused to acknowledge their request to leave, but they launched anyway. No one tried to stop them. As they flew toward human space, Hana looked at the stars ahead. "We did it. We actually did it." "Now comes the hard part," Jiho said. "Surviving what comes next." Behind them, the Council voted. 300 warships were ordered to blockade Earth and destroy the human colonies. The vote was not unanimous, but it was decisive. The war was beginning, and the galaxy was watching. The Council fleet arrived at the edge of human space 3 days after the confrontation. 300 ships, each one massive and ancient, powered by technology that had dominated the galaxy for millennia. Their hulls gleamed with energy shields that could withstand asteroid impacts. Their weapons could burn planets. Admiral Taman watched them approach from the bridge of the Earth flagship Horizon. Around him, his officers monitored displays showing ship positions, energy readings, communication intercepts. The mood was tense, but focused. Everyone knew what was coming. "They are not even trying to hide," Commander Hyunwoo said, studying the tactical display. "They are flying in standard formation. No scouts. No advance guard. They think this will be easy." "Their doctrine has not changed in 10,000 years," Dr. Minho said. He was on the bridge as the Scientific Warfare Coordinator, a new position created just for this conflict. They rely on overwhelming force and superior shielding. They expect enemies to fight defensively and lose through attrition. Taman nodded. "Then we will not fight the way they expect. Hyunwoo, begin Earth's gambit." The commander touched his controls. Across human space, ships began to move, but not toward the enemy. They scattered, breaking formation, appearing to retreat in panic. Some headed toward Mars, others toward the asteroid belt. The flagship stayed near Earth, seemingly alone. On the Council command ship, High Commander Drask watched the human fleet scatter. He was a tall being, armored in natural plates, with 4 arms that moved across his command console. "As expected, they are fleeing. Pursue the flagship. Destroy it quickly and the rest will surrender." The Council fleet accelerated, focusing on the horizon. Energy weapons charged. Targeting systems locked on. In a small fighter near Mars, pilot Nari checked her instruments. Around her, 200 similar ships waited in the shadow of the red planet. They were tiny compared to Council vessels, barely larger than atmospheric aircraft. Their hulls were coated in material that absorbed sensor beams. To Council scanners, they were invisible. "All wings, stand by," she transmitted on the encrypted channel. "Wait for the signal." The Council fleet closed to weapons range. Their first volley lit up space with plasma beams. The Horizon's shields flared, absorbing the impact. Taman gripped his command chair. "Return fire! Make it look desperate!" The Horizon shot back with its energy weapons, but the shots were poorly aimed, missing by wide margins. The Council ships pressed forward, confident in their advantage. "They are committing fully," Hyunwoo reported. "All 300 ships are focused on us." "Good," Taman said. "Execute Phase 2. From the asteroid belt, another wave of human ships appeared. These were larger, proper warships, but still small by Council standards. They began firing missiles, hundreds of missiles flying in swarms. Council point defense systems activated, shooting down the incoming projectiles. Explosions filled space as missiles died before reaching their targets. High Commander Drask laughed. "Primitive kinetic weapons. Our shields will stop anything that gets through." He opened a channel to all Council ships. "Maintain formation. Destroy the human flagship, then sweep the system." That was when everything changed. The missiles that had been destroyed were not the real attack. They were cover. Behind them came smaller projectiles moving faster, coated in the same sensor-absorbing material as Nari's fighter. They were railgun rounds, solid metal moving at a fraction of light speed, invisible to Council sensors until too late. The first round smashed into Council shields. The shields held, but energy readings spiked. More rounds followed, and more. The shields began to flicker under the sustained kinetic assault. "Shields weakening," a Council officer reported. "These impacts are different from plasma weapons. They are transferring momentum directly to our ships." Before Drask could respond, Nari's voice crackled over her fighter wing. "All wings, engage! Hit them now!" 200 fighters burst from Mars's shadow, flying in patterns too erratic for automated defenses to track. They carried no energy weapons. Instead, they launched guided missiles and fired more railgun rounds at close range, targeting already weakened shields. The Council fleet tried to swat them down, but the fighters were too small, too fast, too many. They swarmed like insects, striking and dodging. "Phase 3, Taman ordered. Dr. Minho activated his console. Across the human fleet, electronic warfare systems came online. Powerful computers began attacking Council ship networks, looking for vulnerabilities. The Council had never prioritized cybersecurity because no species had ever tried such attacks. Within minutes, Minho's team had access to Council communications. "Jamming their coordination now," he reported. "Their fleet command cannot effectively direct ships." High Commander Drask watched his tactical display dissolve into chaos. Ships reported conflicting orders. Targeting systems malfunctioned. "What is happening? How are they doing this?" His chief technical officer worked frantically. "They are inside our networks. Some kind of computer attack. I have never seen anything like it." Then Hyunwoo sprung the trap. The human warships that had appeared from the asteroid belt suddenly changed course, flying not away but around the Council fleet, using the planet's gravity to slingshot themselves. They positioned themselves behind the Council formation, and Captain Jiho's battle group, which had been waiting silent and dark in deep space, activated their engines and attacked from above. The Council fleet found itself surrounded, humans in front, behind, and on all sides, fighters harassing them constantly, missiles and railgun rounds hammering their shields, their communications disrupted, their coordination broken. "All ships, full assault!" Jiho commanded. His battle group fired everything. Missiles that split into multiple warheads, railguns that fired in rapid sequence, even old-fashioned chemical explosives that Council shields were not designed to stop. One Council ship's shields failed. A railgun round punched through its hull, venting atmosphere. Then another shield collapsed, and another. Drask realized with horror that his fleet was losing. "Retreat! Fall back to Rally Point 7! But retreating was not simple. The human ships kept attacking, kept harassing. Nari's fighters focused on crippling engines, leaving Council ships unable to escape. Dr. Minho's cyber attacks caused navigation errors, sending ships off course. The battle that was supposed to be a quick punishment action turned into a desperate fight for survival. Council ships that had never known defeat suddenly found themselves burning, breaking, dying. When it was over, only 40 Council ships escaped. The rest were destroyed or captured. The debris field near Mars would remain for decades as a monument to the battle. On the Horizon's bridge, Taman looked at the damage reports. "What are our losses?" 37 fighters, Hyunwoo reported. 2 corvettes. The destroyer Tenacity is heavily damaged but will survive. Total casualties estimated at 400. Against 300 Council warships, humanity had lost less than 500 lives. It seemed impossible, but the evidence filled the view screens. Burning Council ships, human vessels returning to base. Nari's fighter landed on the Horizon's deck. She climbed out, exhausted but alive. Her crew chief ran up. "You actually did it! You fought Council warships and won!" "We all did it," Nari said. "Every ship, every pilot, every person who believed we could win." The news spread across the galaxy faster than light travel. The unthinkable had happened. Humanity had defeated a Council fleet, not through superior technology, but through tactics, innovation, and courage. on hundreds of worlds. Beings watched the footage that journalist Sora broadcast. They saw human fighters dancing around massive council ships. They saw coordination and creativity defeating size and power. They saw what was possible when a species refused to accept oppression. In the council chambers, emergency sessions convened. Some members demanded total war. Others urged negotiation. A few very quietly suggested that perhaps the council had been wrong. The galaxy had changed. The old order was breaking, and humanity had struck the first crack. 6 months after the Battle of Mars, the galaxy looked different. The council still existed, but it was fracturing. 3 species had formally withdrawn following humanity's example. A dozen others were openly questioning council authority. The economic system that had kept everyone dependent was collapsing as species sought independent trade. Ambassador Hana stood at the window of the new conference station humanity had built in neutral space. It was smaller than the council's grand chamber, but it was built with human and allied resources, not tribute extracted by force. Behind her, representatives from 15 species waited. "Thank you all for coming," she said, turning to face them. "I know this required courage. The council has threatened anyone who meets with us." One representative stood. Her name was Yunha, and she belonged to the Talvin species, one of the first to leave the council after humanity. Her people had been miners, forced to sell their resources to the council at fixed prices for 2,000 years. "Courage," she said. "You showed us what real courage looks like. You fought the council and won. That gave us hope." Another representative spoke, a being made of crystalline structures that refracted light. "My species voted to leave the council 2 months ago. We were tired of paying tribute for technology that should have been shared freely. But we did not know if we could survive alone. Then you offered trade agreements, technology exchanges, mutual defense. You offered partnership instead of domination." Hana smiled. "That is why we called this meeting, to propose something new. Not a council that rules, but an alliance that cooperates. We are calling it the Free Systems Alliance." She activated a display showing the proposed charter. Dr. Minho had helped write it, drawing on Earth's history of democratic cooperation. The principles were simple: voluntary membership, equal voting rights regardless of species age or size, open sharing of technology, mutual defense, and the freedom to leave at any time. "No tribute?" one representative asked, suspicious after millennia of council exploitation. "No tribute," Captain Jiho confirmed. He had been promoted to strategic commander after the battle. Each member contributes what they can and receives what they need. Trade happens at fair market rates. Defense costs are shared based on economic capacity, not arbitrary quotas. "And technology?" another asked. "The council always kept the best technology for themselves." Dr. Minho stepped forward. "We propose open research networks. Any breakthrough by any member species gets shared with all members. Yes, that means we share what we develop. But it also means we all advance together. Innovation multiplies when ideas flow freely." The representatives talked among themselves in a dozen languages. Finally, Yunha spoke again. "The Talvin people vote to join. We are tired of being subjects. We want to be partners." One by one, the others agreed. 12 species on the first day, joining humanity in the Free Systems Alliance. 3 more joined the following week. By the end of the month, 20 species had signed the charter. The council's response was swift and harsh. They declared the alliance illegal. They imposed sanctions. They threatened military action. But their threats rang hollow. The council fleet had been defeated once, and no one believed they could win a war against a unified alliance. More importantly, the council's own members were rebelling. Younger species within the council demanded reforms. Some of the elder species, seeing their power slipping away, became more oppressive. This only drove more species into the alliance. Admiral Taman stood in the war room on Earth, monitoring the situation. The Council had not attempted another direct attack, but they were moving ships, building new vessels, preparing for something. "They will not accept this lying down," he said to his staff. "We need to stay ready." Commander Hyunwoo agreed. "But we are not alone anymore. The Alliance fleet now includes ships from 8 different species. We are coordinating defense strategies, sharing tactical data. If the Council attacks again, they will face a united front." In the research station orbiting Mars, Dr. Minho worked with scientists from 6 different species. They were developing new propulsion systems, combining human engineering with Talvan resource knowledge and crystalline energy manipulation. Progress that would have taken decades under the Council's controlled system happened in months with free collaboration. Journalist Sora continued broadcasting across the galaxy. Her reports showed the Alliance building, growing, thriving. She interviewed families on human colonies, workers on Talvan mining worlds, artists on the crystalline homeworld. She showed cooperation and prosperity without oppression. Not everyone joined the Alliance. Some species stayed with the Council out of fear or genuine belief in the old system. Others tried to remain neutral, trading with both sides. The galaxy was messy and complicated, but it was also more free than it had been in 12,000 years. 1 year after the confrontation, Ambassador Hana attended the first annual Alliance Summit. Representatives from 28 species gathered, not in a grand chamber designed to intimidate, but in a simple conference hall where everyone sat at the same level. Yunha had been elected as the Alliance's first coordinator, a rotating position that changed every year. She opened the session with words that would echo across the stars. "1 year ago, we were subjects of the Council, afraid to dream of freedom. Today, we stand as equals, building something new together. This is not the end of our journey. It is only the beginning." The summit addressed practical matters. Trade disputes between members were settled through arbitration instead of military force. Technology sharing protocols were established. Defense coordination improved. Education exchanges began, with students from different species learning on each other's worlds. Captain Jiho, now Strategic Commander Jiho, reported on military developments. "The Alliance fleet is growing, but I want to be clear about our purpose. We do not build weapons to conquer. We build them to defend. Our strength protects our freedom, but we will not become oppressors ourselves." Dr. Minho presented new research initiatives. "In 1 year, we have made advances that equal a century of Council-controlled progress. Imagine what we can achieve in 10 years, in 100. Knowledge is not a resource to be hoarded. It is a torch that burns brighter when shared." The summit lasted 3 days. Disagreements happened. Some species wanted faster military buildup, others wanted more focus on economic development. But unlike the Council, where elder species simply dictated terms, the Alliance debated and voted. No species was too young or too small to have a voice. On the final day, Hana addressed the assembly one last time. "When I walked out of the Council chamber 1 year ago, I did not know if humanity would survive. I did not know if anyone would stand with us. I only knew that we could not live as subjects anymore." She looked around the room at beings from dozens of worlds. "Today, I know we made the right choice, not just for humanity, but for the idea that beings should be free to choose their own path. The Council built order through control. We are building order through cooperation. That is harder. It is messier, but it is right." In the old Council chamber, which now held only 40 species instead of hundreds, Speaker Veln faced a reality he could not change. The Council was dying, not because they lost a battle, but because they lost the argument. Species were leaving not because they were conquered, but because they saw a better way. Some Council members wanted to launch a full war against the Alliance, but the votes were no longer there. Too many members were defecting. Too many others were demanding reforms that would effectively end the Council's authoritarian structure. Admiral Taman received daily intelligence reports showing the Council's decline. "Should we push harder?" Commander Hyunwoo asked. "We could actively recruit more species to leave." Taman shook his head. "We show them the alternative and let them choose. That is the difference between us and them. We do not force compliance. We offer partnership." Years passed. The alliance grew to 50 species, then 70. New research stations were built, new trade routes opened, wars still happened, but they were local conflicts, not galaxy-spanning oppressions. The alliance mediated when possible, defended members when necessary, but always sought peaceful solutions first. The old council eventually reformed, becoming smaller, more democratic, more like the alliance. Some species remained in it, preferring familiar structures. The galaxy had room for different approaches. One day, Hana visited the memorial built near Mars, where the battle had been fought. Names of the 400 humans who died were carved into stone brought from Earth. Names of Allied personnel who had died in subsequent conflicts joined them. Strategic Commander Jiho stood beside her. They were both older now, but still working to build and protect what they had created. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we had submitted?" he asked. "Sometimes," Hana admitted. "We would have survived, probably. But we would have been slaves. Comfortable slaves, perhaps, but slaves nonetheless. And now? Now we are free. And we have shown the galaxy that freedom is possible." She looked up at the stars, where human ships flew alongside vessels from 100 different worlds, all working together as equals. "We did not destroy the Council, Jiho. We just showed everyone there was another way." He nodded. And that was enough. Somewhere in the cosmos, new species were emerging, discovering faster-than-light travel, reaching toward the stars. They would face choices about what kind of galaxy they wanted to live in. But now, at least, they had an example of what freedom looked like. The day humanity walked away from the Galactic Council, they thought they were standing alone. Instead, they had started a movement that changed the cosmos forever. Not through conquest, but through courage. Not through force, but through freedom. And the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter for it.